What's up YouTube, RM Games here, back for another video. Today I'm gonna be showcasing you my updated version of my favorite Pendulum deck, Draco Slayers. Let's go! Hello everyone, as you can see I have my Pendulum deck here. It's time for an OCG update. It's been a while since I've done an OCG deck profile, and here's one of my favorite OCG decks, the Draco Slayers. And let's go jump on in. Alright, first off, for our starters, same old 3 Magispector Bunbuku, 3 Performapal Skullcrobat Joker. I'm running 2 the motorbike, as well as 3 copies of Superheavy Samurai Wakoshi. So right off the bat, the go is here. I'm running Superheavy Samurais for this updated version of my Draco Slayer deck. So the Superheavy Samurai engine that I'm using is not that big, but it actually helps in the consistency, especially when you want to start off and bait out your opponent's interactions. So Wakoshi here is really huge because after you use him as a synchro material, you could actually put him back to one of your pendulum scales, which is really good because as I have played this deck, I usually struggle when your opponent destroys your scales. So having Wakoshi is really good for the deck because it keeps you secured or insured with your scales. So anyways, I'll be moving forward with that so I could show you a combo later, but these are my starters for the deck. So 3 Bunbuku for the Draco Slayer package, 3 Skullcrobat Joker for the Odd Eyes and the Magician engine, and of course the Super Heavy engine. So that's the starters of the deck. And the next to the course, for the Draco Slayers, I'm running the usual 3 of the Magispector, 3 of the Dynamist, and 3 of the Ignite, and also the 1 of Luster. Luster at 1 is for me the perfect ratio because I think having him at 2 or 3 is actually a brick in my opinion, because you don't really need him to resolve. His main role is just to give you your synchro lines. So 1 of Luster is perfect in my opinion. So still 3 of the main Draco Slayers. This allows you to search, this allows you to summon the opposite scale, and this allows you to summon a Draco Slayer from the deck, and you can turn it into a tuner. Or what I usually do is I just summon the 1 of Luster. So that's the Draco Slayer lineup, pretty consistent. You need 3 ofs for each and 1 Luster. If you've seen my previous videos, my previous builds, I'm actually running 1 of the Lecter for consistency boost, but I actually find him a break sometimes, especially if you draw him. Don't get me wrong, it's really good if you draw the face off, but if you draw the piece that should be in the deck, it's really bad for consistency. So I opt out to just run those for the Draco Slayers. Now for the rest of the Super Heavy Samurais. So I'm running 1 of this and 1 of this. So just to give you a glimpse of how this engine works, you can either start with the motorbike or with Wakoshi himself. So the motorbike will allow you to switch any Super Heavy Samurai, which will give you this one. So 2 more motorbikes means 2 more copies of Wakoshi or the rest of the Super Heavy engine. So what you do is use motorbike to add you Wakoshi. Place Wakoshi on 1 of your scales, use its effect. By placing another scale, you could special summon him to the field. So here, right now, you have a secured scale 1 for your Pendulum scale. And then, using its effect, you could add the mask to your hand, which you can then equip to Wakoshi, and then use its effect to summon itself. I don't usually go down this line where I summon this. I usually just use this search as a bait, or use this as a discard fodder for my field search. But you can actually use this as another body, and then you can synchro summon into one of your synchro monsters. But if you know, Ignister Prominence actually needs one pendulum tuner and one pendulum non-tuner, so you can't use these two. I see most of the replays that I've seen, like live duels, they actually use these to synchro into Ignister, which is not allowed. So you gotta play it right, guys. And aside from that, if you have these two in the field, you can actually link off into what's his name? Beyond the Pendulum. But I rarely go down that line because I really want to use Wakaushi as a synchro material so I can put him back into the scale. So what I do is I usually have another pendulum in my hand, which I will normal summon. That will be my materials for the Ignister Prominence. So you synchro Wakaushi and that material, and then use Wakaushi's effect to bring him back to the scale. And that is a secured line. That is a secured scale of 1 to 8. So this is really good. And then on top of that, if your opponent stops this line, then you can start with your Dracoslayer engine. So having this Superheavy Samurai is really good for the consistency. Just to show you, this is the whole Superheavy Samurai cards that I run in the deck. So that's the Superheavy. It's 7 cards. You can drop one of this, but for me, I just need another copy just so I have more chances of getting to my Superheavy line. So that's the Superheavy part of the deck. Now to the rest of the engine. This is the Odd Eyes Performapal Magician parts of the deck. So I still run one of Dissolver, one of Seer, and one of the Pendulum Dragon. So this is the Vortex engine. So having these 3 will get you to this card. So this deck actually has many openings, many end boards, which will really depend on your hand or on the line that you go down to. So these 3 will bring you Vortex Dragon for your combo. So I'm running these for the Odd Eyes Performapal, and then I also have new additions to the deck, which again adds to the ceiling and the consistency of the deck. So I have 2 purple Poison and 1 Harmonizing Magician. If you've seen my previous builds, my usual search for Beyond is usually this or another Draco Slayers. But since our scales are fixed, we can be flexible with whatever we want to search with Beyond. So you can still search this for your Vortex line, or search this. This will give you purple Poison, and that is an easy Synchro 8. So this is really good because it adds more body to the board and more consistency for the deck. It doesn't matter if your opponent stops your Beyond, because you can have more of your Draco Slayers, which is an easy Pendulum Summon if you have both of your Superheavy Samurai scales on set. So yeah, that is the Magician's part of the deck. And of course, Astrograph Sorcerer, the best one of the deck, and there's no explaining that. And for the last Odd Eyes cards, so this can recur all your Dragon extra deck monsters, which is really good. Also, this is a good starter because you can pitch them out and add one of your Dragon Pendulums, which is Arc Rebellion and Luster Pendulum. So this is a mandatory 3 ofs in my opinion. You just want to max out to that. So that is the rest of the Pendulum engines. Now for the spells, I only run 3 spells in this deck. These are all field spells. We all know, or if you do not know, you cannot use super heavy effects if you have spells or traps in your graveyard. So I only have the maximum of 3 spells, and which are all field spells. So I run the mandatory Sky Iris, just one, because field spells in this deck are an easy search for Majesty. This will allow you to add Odd Eyes or Magician or Performapal from your deck. So this is a good one of. It actually adds more ceiling to your plays because among all the searchers, this will give you the vortex package. So it can add you this or one of these. So having him will allow you to go to your vortex line. And then the new added goo is 2 of the Valence field spell. So as I've played this deck through the years, maybe 2 years already, one of the weaknesses that I noticed is after you build your board, your opponent can easily drop a board wipe on you, which will cost you one of your negates, which you wanted to save for the critical card that you want to negate. So having this will block your opponent from using evenly matched on their turn, lightning storm, or even imperm. So that is my main goal on why I run 2 of the Valence field spell. And also it adds consistency to your deck because when you either you can have this or this, either way they have the same effect where you can place the other copy to your opponent's side of the field. So instead of having an empty field which makes their imperm live or other board breakers on their turn, you give them a card. Either one of them gives the turn player an effect either to push a card from the monster zone back to the spell and trap zone, or special summon 1 monster from the spell and trap zone. So having one, let's say your opponent interrupts you, this gives you more ceiling. It allows you to summon 1 more monster from your scales. So this is a good extender and also a good protection. So yeah, so that's why I'm running 2, 1 of each, and also 1 of each is good because again we can always search them out with Majesty. So yep, so those are the spell cards of the deck. And now to the non-engines. I'm running 2 Max C and 3 Ash. So as you can see, the deck is really tight. My deck is actually 41 card counts, and as much as possible I would want to stay inside 40, but I guess 1 card won't hurt, and I only had 5 hand traps, the important ones. So 3 Ash to protect you from Max C or the Moch armies, and of course Max C to help you play during your opponent's turn. So that's it. That is the main deck for my Draco Slayers. Now on to the extra deck. So the extra deck is actually the same because as much as I wanted to end on a very explosive board, the extra deck is really tight, so I just run the important ones. Yeah, so same as usual for our combo starters. I have 1 Beyond, 1 Electrum, 1 IT, which is a piece of our end board which could tag out into SP. If you've seen my previous build, this is actually Unicorn, but now we have SP. It's just a better option to go into if you have IP. And then Celine, also one of the important parts of your combo. Zelantis, Appaloosa, can never go wrong with Appaloosa. Zelantis, as I have mentioned earlier, this deck has like a ton of combo lines that you could go down to. One of the most popular is the Zelantis, which will allow you to abuse Electrum, your Draco Slayer extra deck. But this deck can also build a decent board without getting into Zelantis. So that's one of the combo lines that I could show you moving forward. And then the Draco Slayer exceeds, and more of the rank 4. So depending on your matchups, you could either end with a Baguska or end with a Dweller. And then one of the exceeds rank 8 because most of our high level Draco Slayers are level 8, so this is an easy summon. As I've mentioned, the Ignister level 8 and the Dynamite level 8. So these are your materials for number 38. And then more options, Vortex and Borreload Savage Dragon. So if you go down the Zelantis line, you'll usually end with Vortex. If you do not go down the Zelantis line, you usually end with Borreload Savage Dragon. So I don't know how many possible combos you can do with this deck. I'm pretty sure it's more than 20, and I'm not even kidding. This deck is really good because the synergy is crazy. Level 4 You can abuse level 4. You can abuse this and this to give you unlimited body, to link climb, to synchro, to fusion, to exceed. This deck is just crazy, and that is why this is one of my favorite OCG decks ever. So yeah, that is the extra deck. So usually your end board would look like this. So if you go down the Zelantis line, you'll usually end with a Vortex, a Harbinger, a Abyss Dweller, an Appaloosa, and an IP. That is crazy. And if you do not go into the Zelantis line, you'll usually end with Appaloosa, but you'll only end with two charges, an Abyss Dweller, Boreal End, SP, and Harbinger. It's still a crazy board even without Zelantis. So that's it. This deck is really good. I don't know if there are other better options when you play a Pendulum deck. To be honest, I haven't played the Pendulum Magician's deck ever, like in real life. But one of my friends played that ever since it got printed. I think he pilots the deck well. It's actually good because it has a lot of ceiling to the deck. But for me, this here is my favorite Pendulum deck. So yeah, that's it guys for my Draco Slayer updated deck profile entering 2025 next year. Oh my god, there's like how many weeks? 2 weeks left? It's crazy. Time flies, man. Alright guys, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, boys.